Hi, Carrie.
Hi, Rochelle. How are you?
I'm good. Trying to find a quiet place, so I escaped outside. It's a little warm, but
I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. It's good to see you. Hi, Kim. Kimberly, friend. I never see you. It's good to see you. I'm glad you're on here.
Well, hello. I'm
Oh,
in Prescott
What's
still,
going on,
and
everybody? How we doing tonight? Doing
good.
good to
well?
see
Give
you.
me
Yeah.
some thumbs up if I can see your faces. That'd be awesome. All right. Good, good. Well, guys, thank you for taking time out of your schedules. I'm going to start my timer over here so I can keep on track. My goal is to be close to a half hour. That's what I told you guys. So I want to be on track with that. So my name is Andy Lehman, and I thank you guys for joining me tonight. I just wanted to tell you a quick story about how this class came to be. So my wife saw somebody comment on social media recently that asked, hey, does anybody know a financial advisor who's looking for some guidance? And so she responded and said, yeah, my husband, Andy, would be happy to help. And so she connected us. I reached out to her and I gave her a little bit of an assignment. She told me that she was kind of a child when it came to her finances. She said, my mom is a CPA and my ex-husband was in charge of our finances, but I feel kind of childlike. I don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to personal finances. And so I gave her this little assignment to do, which is pretty normal for what I do with people. And she ended up being a no-show for our appointment. And I thought, all right, well, maybe I overwhelmed her. Maybe I treated her a little bit like she was more of a young adult or something, you know? So I responded back to her and just said, hey, I apologize if I overwhelmed you. My goal is to, just help you in whatever situation you're in. So I don't know, do you need help with budgeting? And she wrote me back and she said, actually, I lost my phone. So that's why I didn't show up to the appointment. So, but that got me thinking, I should probably do this class. And so I went ahead and posted on social media, hey, if I taught this class, would you be interested in joining me? And my wife's like, hello, I've been trying to tell you this for a really long time. And I was like, well, the timing wasn't right for me. So it is now. And so she posted about it a couple days later, whenever it was. And a lot of people were feeding back, hey, yeah, I love that class. And so I thought, all right, well, let's just do this. And here we go. So that's why we're here, and I'm so thankful you guys are joining me. And again, thanks for taking time out of your schedules to make it happen. Here's our game plan for the night. First off, I've got to figure out how to turn the page. There we go. 30 minutes, and here's our goal for the evening. We're going to have some fun. Okay, I'm going to give a book away at the end of the class, so stay tuned for that. We're going to learn how to help others. We're going to discover the key to being victorious with our finances, and we're going to learn some number crunching strategies. Okay, so hopefully I'm speaking to most everybody when I say what we're doing tonight. And I love this class because it's bringing together a lot of folks that I know from lots of different parts of life. I know I've got students, current college students. I know that I've got people I went to high school with, people I went to college with, and I've got people from current day, could be clients, could be Young Living folks. It's just awesome, all the people that are joining us tonight. But out of all the people that are joining us tonight, there are probably three types of people, okay? And here they are. You're either there on the left, things are really tough for you right now financially. You're barely surviving. You're over your head in debt. You're overwhelmed, and it's okay. Been there, experienced that. It's not fun, but it doesn't last forever. You can get yourself out of that spot, okay? Others of you are in the middle there where things are okay, and you need to do some fine tuning to kind of sharpen things up a bit. And then there are the people on the right, which are actually, you're doing quite well, and you really probably don't need to be here, but you're always looking for ways to just sharpen things, right? And that's awesome, and I admire that. That's me most of the time. I'm typically like, hey, how can I sharpen the saw, get a little bit stronger, a little bit better? But I'll be honest with you, I've been on the left and in the middle at different points. So I'm just excited to be here tonight and share some of this with you guys. So hopefully you already have a pencil and paper. I suggest you have that ahead of time. So if you don't, if you guys want to just grab some while you're listening to me, that'd be awesome, because I will have you take some notes here. And if you're on a computer and you've got a phone so you can do a screenshot, that'd be fabulous too on occasion. But I like to take notes when at all possible. I encourage you to do the same. So I want to start off by telling you guys that these ideas are not my own, okay? In a world full of choices, in a world full of infinite ways you can spend your money, give your money, save your money, these ideas are not my own. So I just love this philosophy, and so I teach this philosophy, and a lot of you guys are familiar with that, and you know exactly what it is that I would call one of my greatest financial mentors, and that's Mr. Dave Ramsey. Now, I don't know Dave, never met him before. He and I are similar in a lot of ways and different in a lot of ways. And honestly, he's probably a little more harsh than I am at times. My language hopefully is a little calmer than his, but he also gets the point across, and he reaches millions of people with his message. And so I just think he has a great philosophy as far as taking you from wherever you're at and putting you in a place that's quite a bit better. So that's why I like his philosophy. Okay, so 3 things you can do with money. You can give it, you can save it, and you can spend it. And I encourage you to do all of them, okay? On the saving side of things, there's also investing. And investing, that's a world that some of you guys are familiar with, maybe others are not. That's where I help people a lot. I help people with retirement savings, and help people with college savings, and help people with potentially saving for early retirement. And then I do a little bit of term life insurance here and there. But all in all, that's really it, guys. It's giving, saving, spending. And so I like the philosophy of doing them all the time, okay? If you're on that, that first person that's really struggling right now, and giving seems like not something you can do, I encourage you to start super, super small, like super small, but start making that a habit of just learning to give. It's like a muscle, right? Work on that muscle. Use that muscle group, okay? Saving, same deal. If you're not familiar with saving, get used to using that muscle. And then there are others that probably actually need help with this one. It's the spending muscle. Some of you guys are really good at giving and saving, but you don't spend. That would have been me. I'll be honest, that would have been me. And it still is a bit, but I love to spend when the resources are dealt with properly. Like, honestly, I like to spend. But some people actually need to be encouraged to spend. So do all these, and I really think you're going to live a fabulous life if you are constantly doing these 3 things. So I'm going to start with a question that you probably you all know the answer to right now. And so I want you to get your pencil and paper ready right now. I want to know why you're here. You're not going to necessarily tell me that right now in the comments. You don't need to write in the comments. I just want you to write it on your paper. Why are you here? Okay. It could be that you want to reduce stress. It could be that you want to do more fun things with your money. It could be that you want to be more generous when it comes to finances. What I want you to do is I want you to take 60 seconds right now, and I want you to get super clear about why you're here and why what it is I'm going to teach you tonight will help you going forward. All right, so go ahead and take a second to do that. All right, if you want to go ahead and just breathe with me for a second. I think this picture and these pictures, and I think that this page is appropriate because my guess is a lot of you guys are joining me tonight because of stress. Maybe not, but probably a good deal. And the stress piece is real. And I just want to let you know that your physical health is affected by your financial health. And so prioritizing your financial health is a big deal. We carry our financial wellness around with us, whether you know it or not. You carry it in your body. Okay, I can just tell you this. Okay, just really quickly. Some of you guys know our story. We bought some land, built a house on it in the last couple of years. We had previously had a paid for house. And when we had a paid for house, I can tell you, I just breathed differently. Like there was no weight on my shoulders personally. I can't speak as much for my wife. I can speak for myself. A lot less weight on the shoulders. We don't have a huge mortgage here on this house, so I'm not going to tell you that we're really struggling, but I can tell you that I wear my financial health on my body, like I can feel it. Okay. And so I just want to encourage you to get things right tonight. Okay. Make a decision tonight that you're going to change things for the future, because you can feel it on your body. Like you can feel it in your mind, you can feel it in your spirit, you can feel it everywhere. And so just make a decision tonight that you're going to go back to that why and figure out why you want to change things. So here's a question for you, and you don't have to write this down, you don't have to answer it, but how often do you eat? How often do you brush your teeth? I hope that's at least twice a day. Please tell me it is. And I'm working on that with our kids still at their ages 11 and 14. But how often do you sleep? I hope it's every day. Hope it's every night. I mean, if your answer is every day, which I hope it is, then the same thing should go with budgeting. And I'm being really serious. I'm not being like, I'm not joking around. It's not like, hey, this guy's a financial advisor, so that's, of course, that's what he's going to tell me to do. I mean, do you want to be out of stress? Do you want to release that stress? I want you to release that stress. And so budgeting, even though you may not do it every single day, you want to do it the equivalent of every day, which would be once a week or once a month, whatever it is that, you know, feels like a normal flow for you. Just get in that flow and keep that flow going. Okay. Okay, so we know when it comes down to budgeting, it's really a simple math equation. It's as simple as a math concept you learned when you're in elementary school. So I'm not going to teach anything, you know, that's kind of, you know, breaking ground tonight, but you do want to write this down. I would write this down. Your budget is income minus your expenses equals your margin. And your goal should be to increase income, decrease expenses, and as a result, increase your margin. Okay. And when you have more margin, that's when the stress starts to fade. You feel it go off of your shoulders. You feel it, you know, you feel release from your chest. That's where, you know, you carry a decent amount. You carry it on our lower back. That's not an unfamiliar place to carry it. So anyway, increase income, decrease expenses, and increase your margin. So margin, it allows you to work towards your bigger goals, which should be, again, doing 3 things you can do with money, which would be more giving, more saving, and more spending. Okay. All right, here's a good place to take some notes. I hope I'm not covering this up with your faces. I see your faces, which are awesome down at the bottom, but sometimes I'm not sure if I'm covering things up. Am I covering up screens? Okay, you guys can see the screens. Perfect. So there are 2 types of income we're going to talk about tonight. One is a fixed income, and one is a variable income. And they go by other names, but I think these are pretty straightforward. So let's start with a fixed income. So fixed income would typically be for people that are employed by an employer. Okay. And so you're going to get paid most often every 2 weeks. Okay. Sometimes you'll get paid every month, but your employer will typically pay you every 2 weeks. And what's important to know is people miss this calculation often. So I want you guys to either screenshot this or take notes, and I'm going to give you enough time to write this down. So go ahead and write this down. If you have a fixed income from an employer, write this part down. You're going to write down, take what you get paid every 2 weeks, multiply it by 26, then divide it by 12. All right, so I'm going to read it one more time to you. So you're going to take what you get paid every 2 weeks, multiply it by 26, and then divide it by 12. So keep writing. I know it's going to take you a moment to do that. It's kind of long, but this is a reminder, guys. Sometimes people shortchange themselves on 2 paychecks a year, and I don't want you to do that. You want to make sure you're getting paid all that you actually are getting paid, and you want to account for it when it comes to budgeting. And so what you need to know is that instead of 24 pays, oftentimes we think, hey, I get paid, you know, every other week, so it's twice a month, right? But it's truly, you know, there are actually a couple of paychecks in there. So just make sure you get that calculation right when it comes to what it is you actually get paid. So that's the first type. And by the way, kind of nice and easy because you've already got your taxes taken out. You've got your health benefits taken out. Sometimes you have a 401k taken out. You've got other things that have already been taken out. And so pretty straightforward. Whatever you bring home is your net. I always think of it as fishing. You go fishing with a net and you take that net home with your fish, right? So you take it, that's what you take home is your net. Your gross is what you get paid, but that's before taxes. All right, the next type of income is a variable income. And so variable income is somebody that's self-employed, somebody that does contract work. And in this case, it could be commission based. Your paycheck's kind of all over the place. And it's really hard for you to make decisions about, well, how do I budget? I don't know how to budget. My paycheck was this amount last year and now it's this amount. What do I do? And so I really like the philosophy that you go off of your lowest amount. Okay. So if you just look at your last 12 months, identify what your lowest amount was that you got paid and just make that your base income. Okay. And so you just go off of that amount. And then if you end up earning more, you just make adjustments in your budget. Okay. To account for it. But go off of that lowest amount when it comes to planning, right? When you're planning ahead, because you're going to plan ahead for a month. And it's just good to use that lowest amount so you really know what it is, kind of the bare necessities. Okay. And then it's speaking of variable incomes, this is set aside for people with variable incomes, taxes and business expenses. So oftentimes if you're self-employed, contract work, it's your job to set aside money for taxes. And so I recommend taking taxes out of every paycheck. And I'm not an accountant, so I can't give you individual specific attention on this, but I like the idea of you're first starting off 20 to 25% set aside for taxes. Okay. Out of every paycheck you earn, put it away for taxes, put it aside in a separate savings account. If you've been around long enough in the self-employed world, you probably have figured out your kind of what you need to set aside tax-wise so that you kind of finish off a year in good shape. And then when it comes to business expenses, same deal, set money aside for those business expenses, usually in a business checking account. And then again, after those have been taken care of, then that's when you consider what's your net income. Okay. So when I calculate our income, we've got, again, 2 different commission-based businesses. And so I just go ahead and say, all right, here's what it is that we've got after taxes and business expenses have been taken out. This is what we have left. This is our net. This is what we calculate off of. Okay. All right. Next up, let's talk about expenses. So that's the other part of the equation. We've talked about the income and now the expenses. So these are your needs. Okay. Oftentimes people have just difficulty identifying what's a need, what's a want. People have differences in opinions about what needs and wants are, let's be honest. But these, I would say, are your real basic needs. It's food, shelter, transportation, utilities. I think clothing would be important too. I mean, it's probably not a good idea to go out there without clothing on. So probably should put that in there too. But bottom line is, like, if you got a roof over your head and you have food on the table and you have a place to get from here to there, you're really doing quite well compared to a lot of people in the world. And let's focus on gratitude, right? Gratitude. Times are not always great in our lives, but we can always be grateful for something, right? And so if you're here tonight, you've got food, shelter, transportation, utilities, and some clothing, you have everything to be grateful for, right? So just these are your real basics, okay? And I wrote this down. I feel like this is super important to share with people, needs and wants. Just remember this, guys. Everyone's going to have seasons where things are going to feel tight, and you want to plan on that. I'll be honest, been through 3 different seasons in my working life in the last 21 years, basically, since I've been working, where, economic changes happen. The industry that you're in suddenly hits a place where it's like, nope, there's no demand for that industry anymore. And now it starts to go down, right? And then there's a demand for that and it starts to go up. And so this is normal. The demand and supply curve, it goes up and down. We just kind of forget about it sometimes. And so plan ahead when it comes to that you know that this is going to happen some in your life. Also, markets, when it comes to investing, markets go up and down, okay? They tend to go up more than they go down. That's how we end up doing well when we invest. But bottom line is plan on downtimes. Like, it's actually a part of life. It's kind of like the seasons, right? You can't change some things. Summer comes before fall. That's how it goes. We didn't create it, right? But we just have to learn how to deal with it. And accept it and grow from it. So grab that pencil and paper out again. I want you to write this down. Go ahead and write the word Google. So when you're done with this presentation, you can Google this. Google extensive budget categories. Okay, just write that down. Google extensive budget categories. So when you do that later on, the first thing that's going to pop up probably is going to be the Quicken link. So if you want to make a note that it's a Quicken link, great. If you don't, it's all right. You'll just see whatever you click on will be a great list of categories. Instead of writing out a bunch of categories here and overwhelming you, I just figured I'd give you an assignment to do later where you can go back and look. But guys, this is a big one. This is another place where people get into trouble is they just don't think about all the different expenses that they should be considering. And so this list is going to give you a lot of things and you probably won't miss anything as a result. And I like this idea, when in doubt, print out your last 3 months of statements, okay? So that you can go back and look at what money you actually spent on what it was. You can write down what item, what category you would put it in. So you kind of make sure there's nothing you've missed, okay? And then this is a lot of stuff to write. So if you can't write all this, I'm not going to be on this page for too much longer. So it might be better to take a screenshot if you've got a phone nearby. If not, well, you can use your phone to take a screenshot on a Zoom call. You might not know how, but I'm not going to teach you. Just do your best. All right. So things that are often missed. I would write this one down. Please write this one down. Car maintenance. Okay. Car maintenance. And I really like the idea of $75 to $125 a month per car. And yeah, I know you just need $50 for that oil change. But next month, you're going to need new tires, right? Or you're going to need some new struts on your SUV like we do in probably 3 or 4 months, right? And so we found out that bill is going to be about $1,600. And so it's like, all right, that's not fun, but we set aside, enough money every month so that we've got a good chunk. And now we'll just have to take money from our margin, what we have left over every month, to pay for that with cash later. So bottom line is car maintenance. This is what you call a sinking fund in your budget, where you actually want to set that money aside. You'll just let it grow in your account, in your checking account. And I'll tell you this later again, but your budget tells you how you're doing, not your bank account. Okay. Your budget tells you how you're doing, not your bank account. I'll clarify that in a second, but this is just important to know. Car maintenance, you want to leave that money alone. Like, hey, just because you didn't need to maintain your car this month doesn't mean you can go out for a nice meal, because next month something's going to happen to your car. Okay. This is the part where it's like, hey, you just got to follow the rules. Okay. These are the rules. You got to follow the rules if you want to do well. If you don't want to experience that stress. Other things that are often missed are Christmas gifts, other gifts, and then items you pay once a year, maybe an Amazon $99 charge, right? That's going to get charged once a year. Don't forget that happens. So 99 divided by 12, what do you need to be saving every single month for that? Okay. And then debts, don't miss your debts, guys. Whatever debts you owe, make sure that those are written down and take care of them. Okay. All right, last piece, and then we're moving on to the next page. Areas that are often overspent: food, and that includes both groceries and dining out. Okay. And I know it's been a challenging last couple of years with inflation, right? Cost of food and everything else being extra expensive. Maybe you got to make adjustments there. I'll tell you what, in my opinion, your food is worth it. Your food is one of your highest investments. What you invest in your physical body will save you on healthcare. Okay. So invest in your food. Don't skimp on your food. Invest in your food. Skimp on something else. There are other things to skimp on. Don't skimp on your food. Okay. And then, just consider that. And then entertainment, that's another thing. Okay. If you don't have the money, now's not the time. Okay. Don't go out and do those things because you don't have the money. All right. Wait until you do. Okay. Thank you for all those of you guys that responded to my question the other night or the other day on social media. I asked what your favorite budgeting apps were. And a lot of you guys responded, and I appreciated that. These were the most common, and I'll just tell you first, I'll tell you what we do at the top. We use EveryDollar, which is a Ramsey program, and we pay $21.48 a month for that subscription. And I'll be honest, guys, we have got 2 businesses, so we have a lot of moving parts. We got a lot of little details, and I'm a bit of a micromanager, I'll be honest with you. And so a lot of line items, okay? We probably have like 60 expense categories, and that's not going to be most of you. Most of you guys are going to have like 20, probably. So this may not be for you. The free EveryDollar version might be perfect. Audrey and I have a clothing and spending account. Each of us do our own categories. We separate groceries and dining out. You might not do that. So you choose. Just know that you may or may not decide to pay for a subscription. Got a lot of people recommending YNAB, which is short for You Need a Budget. Mint, I know my sister likes Mint. Quite a few folks like Excel and different spreadsheets. We personally use Excel as well, kind of as a background. thing to kind of keep track of, you know, what's coming in, what's going out, especially like instead of a checkbook, that's what I use for us. And then Pocket Guard and Good Budget. I don't know anything about those, but I found them online that they were pretty highly recommended. Okay. All right. And so just like a dentist can recommend a toothbrush to you, I'm going to recommend you do something, but I can't help you brush your teeth. I can't help you budget. You've got to do that part on your own. So you're going to do it. That's all I can tell you. You're going to do it and you're going to do well. Okay. So this is the part I was sharing earlier. Your budget tells you the story, not your bank account. Okay. Your budget tells you the story, not your bank account. If your budget says you got this amount, that's what you got. Don't look at your bank account. If the bank account looks like it's got a lot of money, but your budget says you don't, follow your budget. That's your true, it's telling the truth. Okay. So listen to your budget, not your bank account. Okay. So give yourself 90 days, especially if you're just getting started on budgeting, or you haven't budgeted in a while and you're picking things back up again. Just be patient. It's like buying this land, guys. This land is cool, but it's been overwhelming. We had no yard work, and then suddenly we had 8 hours a week of yard work. And for me, it was overwhelming. I'm just going to be honest. And I'm getting there, and it's getting easier. But you have to have patience, and you can't stop. I know I can't stop. I can't. Oh, hey, I don't feel like doing it today. Well, good luck, dude. Somebody's got to do it, and you got to do it. So just, offer yourself some grace. Be good to yourself. Don't be harsh on yourself, but you can do it. And just be good and be patient. All right, so this is for the married couples or those that are going to choose marriage down the road. Hey, marriage is not an easy thing. If you've been told that marriage is like all sunshine and rainbows and it's what you see in movies, that's not marriage. Marriage is work, okay? And you need the right people to teach you that and teach you how to navigate marriage in a good way. And I'm going to be honest with you, I think finances are a huge piece to the success of marriage. Andre and I, we've had some good ones over the years when it comes to finance. We've even had a couple in the last couple of years. Quite a few in the last couple of years. The land idea was more hers than mine, and it roughed me up a bit. But we have had the conversations. We've navigated through the conversations. We've known that we're going to get through it. We're going to get to the other side of it. But bottom line is, in most cases, there's a nerd in the marriage, and there's a free spirit in the marriage. The nerd is me. The free spirit's my wife, and she's not like crazy free spirit, but she, could really care less about. She'd just like to know things are okay. She'd rather not deal with the nuts and bolts. It's not her favorite thing. Here's the deal. If you're a nerd, you need to know you're probably always going to be the nerd. Okay. And so that means it's going to be your job to lead the meeting for the rest of your marriage. Okay. All the time. Like, hey, we need to sit down. Perfect. We're sitting down. All right. Awesome. Free spirit, your job is to just show up to the meeting and offer some suggestions and always show up to the meeting. Okay. There you go. Plain and simple. All right. Moving on. Here's my next suggestion. Go ahead and write this down. We just write this down, the answer down to this. Always have a goal in front of you, okay? Write down one goal right now that you have in front of you. Take 30 seconds to do that, okay? And if you're clueless, that's perfectly fine. I'll give you some suggestions on the next page. Okay, so I want you to write this down as well on your page. Write down Google. This is your assignment afterwards. 7 baby steps. 7 baby steps. Google 7 baby steps after the class. So I'm not going to read these to you. There are actually 8 steps here. There's a step in the middle called 3B. It's for saving for a house. But this is awesome. This plan's amazing. This is the logical steps that Dave Ramsey teaches, and this is what I love about this program. This is part of the reason Andre and I had conflict, because we were on step 7 in 2018 after we paid off our house, and then we moved back to step 3. And I teach people these steps, and so I kind of figured, hey, we'll get to step 7, we'll always be in step 7, and we fell back to step 3. Hey, you know what? Humility is a good thing in life, and so it's been good to be humbled, and I'm thankful for this plan, and I know we're going to move forward again. So anyway, just follow these steps. If you're completely clueless, if you didn't have a goal on the last page, follow these 7 steps, read into them more later and learn about them. great method to follow. All right, so I'm going to tell an abbreviated, kind of changed version of this story, but a boy goes to the beach with his dad, and they find an ice cream shop, and his dad says, "Hey, let's go grab an ice cream cone." So the boy's 3 years old, okay, and unfortunately, they don't have cups as an option, and so the dad has to buy the son a cone, a chocolate, soft dip cone. So they walk out of the ice cream shop, and the little boy had a lick of his ice cream cone before it fell on the ground, and now, what's the dad to do? All right, the boy's sad, disappointed, right? And so he's like, okay, I'm gonna get him another one. So they go back towards the shop, and the little boy sees a sign with an ice cream cone that has 3 scoops. He's like, Daddy, I want that one. I want that one. And what do you think the dad's thinking? You think the dad's thinking, you know what? I think that's a great idea. I think we should get him 3 scoops. No, I don't think so. The dad's like, no, son, we're not going to get that one. We had trouble with the single scoop, so I think we're going to stick with the single scoop. And this time I'm probably actually going to hold it. Just make sure you actually can consume it properly. Well, this is super a simple idea. It's a difficult lesson, right, for a little boy. And sometimes as adults, it's a difficult lesson when we can't handle a single scoop of ice cream. But it's a necessary lesson sometimes where we kind of get humbled, right? We get kind of smashed in the face, and we're like, oh shoot, yeah, I couldn't handle that single scoop, and now why do I think I should be able to handle 3? I honestly can't handle 3. I didn't handle the single very well. So it comes to the same with our finances, guys. I know some of us we want to earn more money. We want to be able to do nicer things. But if we can't take care of our single scoop, we really shouldn't be in charge of more of it. And I'm speaking to myself as well as you, okay? So I love this. This is scripture that's spoken to me in the last decade. It's about being faithful with small things. And it's Luke 16:10, and it's just talking about whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And if you're dishonest with very little, you'd also be dishonest with much. And so your job is to get faithful again. Okay. If you've been unfaithful, it's okay. You're not alone there. But it's time to be faithful again. It's time to keep showing up for yourself. It's time to identify your stressor, the reason you're here tonight. And it's time to get back to it. And so I encourage you to walk away tonight with a growth mindset. And it may not be fun now. It's like the land, right? It's not fun. It hasn't been fun, but I know it's getting better, and I know it's going to get better for you. It's time for you to study. It's time for you to listen. It's time for you to stay inspired. And so this is what I want you to do. Okay. Write that down if you need to. I want you to listen to the Ramsey Show if you want to. You can go to your app store when we're done here, and you can search the Ramsey Show. You find it there, the Ramsey Solutions. Or find somebody else that talks about finances that aligns with your values, okay? But read articles, read books, focus on staying motivated. And at the end of the day, behavior is everything. Ignorance, turns out, it's not bliss. It's, how often should you be budgeting? The equivalent of daily, right? Like brushing your teeth, sleeping, and eating. So here's that book giveaway I was talking about. Guys, I appreciate you for being here tonight. I appreciate you for taking time out. I'm a few minutes over, and I apologize for that. I just want you to jot these last things down real quickly, okay, or screenshot this. For the book giveaway, you have 15 minutes to respond, so I know that might put some of you guys in a bind, but you got 15 minutes to respond. You're going to send me a message. You can either find me on Facebook Messenger. If you're not friends with me on Facebook, just go ahead and send me a friend request, Andy Lehman, and we'll probably have at least one mutual friend in common, which would be my wife, Andrea, or my email address, which is right there. And you're going to just send me a short message. Be as detailed as you want to. I mean, yeah, whatever you want to share with me, I'd love to hear it. I'd love for you to be detailed. Just make sure you can sum it up in about 15 minutes, okay? One positive takeaway from tonight, something that you're walking away with like, hey, this was super valuable to me. This is going to help me going forward. And then one challenge you're currently facing, because I want you to be real, okay? I was real with you. Hopefully tonight you learned from me about being real. And then if you have a question, feel free to send that in your message. Just say, hey, I had a question about tonight. Curious about this, because I'm instead of looking at the chat and identifying questions people have, that'll just be easier for me to answer your questions back that way. All right. Guys, thanks again for taking time out of your schedule. I appreciate it. If you know anyone that wants to jump on tomorrow night's class, feel free to invite them. You have the link, I think, to this event on Facebook, so you should be able to share that with them and get them the link. But super, super grateful for you being here. And I wish you guys all the best. I look forward to reading your responses because I want to give a book away tonight. All right. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care. Have a great evening. All right. Bye-bye.